Okay, we are recording. Fantastic. So welcome everybody to the latest Jodo webinar. Today, it's my absolute pleasure to be doing a collaboration with Edpuzzle, as well as the amazing Jane Basnett and Daren White. We're in for a real treat this evening, looking at Edpuzzle and in particular how it can be used in language learning. So we're going to be doing a bit of a demo. We're going to be doing a bit of a competition at the end or a promotion. We're going to have a case study, and we're going to also talk about Edpuzzle accreditation. So without further ado, I'm going to start off now. If you would like to write any questions in the chat, if you could put the letter Q in front of your question, that would be wonderful. I will then collect the questions during the session. It needs to be said, of course, this is a professional meeting. We expect everyone to behave professionally in the chat. I have disabled everything else, but please don't be silly in the chat at all. For obvious reasons, and let's carry on. So the idea of this session is supposed to be an introduction to using Edpuzzle. So if you've never heard of Edpuzzle before, then there's going to be lots for you to learn about. And if you are an active user of Edpuzzle, please do share your experience in the chat. There's something for everyone here. There's going to be lots of cool tips to get you started, as well as ideas which can push you to the next level. So I'd officially like to thank my co-presenters and Celia for joining us today from Edpuzzle. And I'm just going to go through a few slides with us now, and then we'll then go from there. So what is Edpuzzle? This is what it is. Essentially, it's a fantastic way in the languages classroom and outside of the languages classroom is to create listening comprehension activities which can be accessed remotely or in the classroom. So if, for example, you go into an ICT room and you want to do some listening comprehension with maybe an authentic video on YouTube, or you want to upload your own video onto Edpuzzle, then that is very straightforward to do, and you can create different exercises which are self-marking for the students. And it's a great way of being able to test the listening comprehension of your students. You can do other things as well with Edpuzzle. You can track your students' progress and so on and so forth, but we're going to go through that in more detail later on. Okay, here's a very, very short video clip. It's only about a minute long. It's not in a languages context, it is in a science context, but it gives you a really nice sort of overview of what Edpuzzle is all about. So I'm going to play this for you now, and we can sit back and enjoy.
Want to create amazing video lessons in minutes? Edpuzzle is your missing piece. With Edpuzzle, you can choose from the millions of videos available from YouTube, National Geographic, TED Talks, Khan Academy, and more. You can also reuse ready-to-go video lessons made by other teachers, or upload your very own teaching video. Then, use Edpuzzle's video editor to create your perfect lesson. Embed your own questions to check your students' understanding, cut sections to show your students only the most important parts of the video, and even record voiceover so you can explain concepts in your own words. Once you've finished, you can assign it to your students in just one click and prevent skipping to make sure your students don't miss a thing. When you want to check in on your students' progress, use Edpuzzle's hassle-free analytics to get all the information you need. See who still needs to watch the video, what your students responded, and their total scores. So remember, with Edpuzzle's free platform, you can make any video your lesson.
Fantastic, lovely. Okay, so let's carry on. This is a guide that I created for the Post-Primary Languages Initiative in Ireland, which is a languages organisation that's been running for many years, and they've had some funding from the government to help them promote languages. And I've made a number of different tutorials, one of which is about Edpuzzle. So I put the link there for you as well, which goes through lots of things that we're going to be doing today in this webinar. So I think you'll find that useful. And I wanted to give a big plug for this promotion. It is possible for you to get free access to Edpuzzle Pro up until the end of July 2021. So if you want to try out all the Pro features, then this is your opportunity to do that. I put the link at the bottom there. I'm going to be sharing the whole presentation with you, as well as providing this link or emailing this link to you as well after the session as well, for those people who aren't able to come along and watch the session live. So along with the recording, you'll get the link to the promotion as well, which is awesome. And this is the presentation. So I'm just going to quickly exit that, and I'll put that in the chat for you, so you can then have a look at that in your own time. And I will then live demonstrate how to get started with Edpuzzle. So here's the presentation. Feel free to share that wherever you would like to share that. And I'm now going to go into Edpuzzle and give you an idea of how it all works. So you can see, first of all, you've got login and sign up. You can sign up with a Google account, etc. I click on login. It says, welcome back, ready for class. You say if you're a teacher or a student. Obviously, I'm going to say I'm a teacher here. It's remembered my account, which is awesome. So I can just click login with Edpuzzle. So that's really fantastic from that point of view. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class. You can see top right, it says my classes. So I click on that. And then as you can see here, I've got all these different classes here, and I can then click the plus icon, and that will then allow me to create a new class. So let's put in Edpuzzle demo. There we are, making sure I spell it correctly. There we are. And then having done that, you can put in a description, you can put in a grade level. I'll just put in here. That's optional, that's fine. Subject, you can put in, let's put in French. And then this is really important. You've got the classic and the open option. So the open option does not require the students to have an email address to log in, but you don't get access to the grade book. Whereas the classic option means that they do need to have an email address to log in. But Jane's going to talk about that in more detail in a moment. Once you've clicked open, you have this option, let Edpuzzle generate students' nicknames. I wouldn't suggest that's a good idea. I would just let them put in their own names, as it were, or nicknames that they've decided, rather than generating ones randomly. Then you click create class. There we are. I've made my class. As you can see there, it says Edpuzzle demo. So having done that, we then click on the content option. And there's lots of different things you can do. You can search for content here, or I can go onto YouTube and I could put in a video. I could look for a video. I could put in, for example, Stromae. And there we are. Here's a video that I know that I want to use. So I select that. And then what I can then do is I can then scroll down. You can see that there are lots of different versions of this video when people have added other questions. So for example, if I click on this one, you can see that you've got all these different points in here, which allows me to see the different questions that come up. So if I just press play, you'll see how it works. There we are. So as you can see, the question has come up here, and that's how Edpuzzle works. So you press play, you then press pause, you add in your question, and then as you can see here, this is the multiple choice one, and then you have to then tick the correct box according to what the correct answer is. You can also disable skipping as well, so you can't just skip forward to the next video, and so on and so forth. So if I want to create one from scratch, all I have to do is click edit, like this. And then if I click on questions and I want to create, for example, a multiple choice question, which is what I'm going to do, I first of all press play. Okay, let's imagine I want to put in a question here. I just click multiple choice question, and then I put in the different possible answers. So I'll just do this in English just to make it nice and easy for everyone. So I could say, what is the father looking at? Question mark. Put in the different possibilities. So I could put in nothing, and I could put in the TV, and the actual answer is nothing. And then I click save. So in other words, what I'm doing is I'm pressing play. When I get to the point I want to add the question, I press pause, and that's when I can add the question there. And then I click save. There we are. And then I click continue. I would then press pause again. I would add the next question and so on and so forth. I'm just now going to click finish. And having done that, you then have got the assign option. So if I click on assign, I can then choose the class I want to assign it to. So I'm going to assign it to Edpuzzle demo. As you can see here, it says prevent skipping. That's really important. So the children can't just drag the playhead along to the end and say, oh, I've done it, because they won't be able to do that because skipping has been prevented. So they have to answer all the questions in order to get the answers. Then I click assign. And that's it. And now here, as you can see there, it says share assignment. I copy the link and then I just share that with the students, and then they can then do the activity. So that's it. So that's a really sort of quick little introduction. And now, if it's okay, I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Jane, who's going to go through her top tips on how she uses Edpuzzle in the classroom, particularly in an Office 365 environment. But hopefully that's giving you an idea of how it works. Over to you, Jane.
Joe. Right, I'm just going to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so I think Joe's done a very thorough explanation of how you would get your, how you'd get your videos going. And I think one of the things I can talk about is how, as a school and as a department, we share things. So, I'll either take a video that exists already and use it as it is, or I may adapt it with my own questions, and Joe's talked about that. But perhaps colleagues of mine will have shared with me, and I'm going to show you how to share a preview of the video with your colleagues or with other teachers, so then they get an idea, and you choose then what would be right for you in your classes. So I'd go to my school and I'd select the subject. So in this case, I want to select French. There we go. And everything that appears would be things from my department. So I know that my colleague has created something really good on pastimes. And I can see also this little bubble here underneath tells me how many questions she's put in. And so I would use, I'd think, okay, 17 questions, and I would click on that. And I can see across the bottom, as Joe showed us, the 17 questions. And I would think, yeah, I'm going to get a copy of that and keep that for myself. So now if I go back to my page and my content, there it is there. I've got the 17 questions, and I would just watch it through and see if the questions were right for me, maybe delete some, add some of my own. And in that way, we obviously cut the work and create some great resources, but few of us, not all of us, are doing the same thing with the same videos. We are really being collaborative, which is a good way to be, I think. Then what I want to do is say I had created this video. One of the options you've got down here is to share a preview, and that's how we share as a department what we've done. So I would copy that link and I would share that in Teams, actually. And I don't know whether Joe, I'm guessing you don't want me to show how that works, or do you?
Well, as long as you're not showing any student names, then that's fine if you're happy to do that.
So I would copy that link and I would go to Teams. So I'd go down here to my shared, so we have a shared staff team, and I'd say to my colleague, here's a great video that you might like to use. And then I would put the video in, and although the thing is, she created it, so on this occasion it's a bit cheeky. But anyway, I'm going to say to her, thanks Maria for creating that great resource. And just let me open up my page again. There we go. And that's how we share preview. And then she would know to come into Edpuzzle, and like I showed you, go to the school, look under the subject and find the video. So, and then what I'm going to show you is this one here. So this is one I've done with my class. I'm going to show you firstly how I would assign it. Now you can assign, Joe showed you how to assign in one particular way, and I'm going to show you another way here. I think, actually, if I can't, actually, just bear with me a second. There we are. That's the thing. So I've just changed. Yeah. So this is another way that I could share with my classes. I can share because for each class we have a code. So I go back here. If I go to my classes, I've got a number of classes. If I go to this class in particular, and I go to class options, you can see here I've got a code. So I can share that code with my class so that they can get in more easily. And the way I would do that would be I would click on sign up. This is the first time I'm a student. And actually I'd need to, I would sign up with Edpuzzle, and then I would enter in my class code, and that would get me directly into the class. So I can't remember the code at the moment, but you see how the principle works. Okay, going back to my class then. I can find it. There we go. So Le Futur Poche, this is one I did already with my class. And so I'm going to show you how good it is in terms of looking at the work they've done when they're in the lesson. So I would assign it, and this one is one we've done already. And then during the lesson, I would then look at, just let me get there. I would look at the class, actually, where am I? My classes. So here we go. Now you can see here that they've all started. So during the lesson, what happens is I can see immediately their progress. So and they've all entered with their first names and their initial. And actually, because of course now they've finished the activity, I can see, these people have all finished 100% done. But during the lesson, you actually see the progress in live time. So, and these girls here, this is a sign of the times. They were a little bit late because they were doing their lateral flow test. So they never finished the activity. But that's fine. So I can look and I can see on their progress, and then I can, at the end of that whole experience, I can go to my grade book, and I can see how they've done with their marks. And actually, if I have missed I have missed it. So I go back to my class. So I've got, you can see here, I've still got 24 answers to grade. I can look at each of the questions, and I can see how they've done. And I've still got some marking to do because I set some questions as open-ended and some questions I set as multiple choice. So you can see the multiple choice questions already. I can see that 8 out of 20 got it right. And then here the open-ended, it's telling me that 0 out of 20 have got that right. Well, that's because I need to grade it. So what I'm going to do, there's a really quick way that I like to use the whole system. So you can see this blue button here, mark ungraded as correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these answers, and I'm just going to mark as incorrect any that are incorrect. The question was, most of the verbs in this text are conjugated in the future posh. Write a short explanation of how the future posh is formed. Right, so the first girl's got it right. I'm going to be quite, so this one, pronoun and aller conjugated, combine the present tense with the infinitive. You find the conjugated verb of aller. So they're all going to get it right. Add an auxiliary. Okay, so this girl's got it wrong, and keep the infinitive. So that's wrong, and I am just going to say that that is wrong. So conjugate the verb, add the ending, not enough detail. Aller, present and infinitive. You use the right form of the aller, you put an auxiliary verb, and you keep the infinitive. So there's a little bit of confusion there, and I can see who it is who's going wrong. And so I would do that the whole way through. So go the whole way through all the questions and just mark the ones that are incorrect, and the rest of them that are correct, mark the ungraded as correct. And you'll see how it just quickly then, there we are. It's just going to mark everything. It's all done for me. So I only really need to mark the incorrect ones, and hopefully, there aren't too many incorrect ones. So then I can see all of the wrong answers, which girls have got wrong answers, go through and address any misconceptions. And then finally, I can go to my grade book, and I can see, so I've got a few marks here for a couple of activities. I can see their score for particular activities, it's always marked as a percentage. And also if I click, I can get further detail. So I can see that she's got 80 out of 100. She's watched all of the video and she's got 4 out of 5 correct. But sometimes you can see that they didn't do as many. So let's just choose another one. So here we go. So she's only got 2 out of 9. And what it does is it tells you how many they actually answer. So sometimes they don't answer them all because they couldn't for whatever reason. And I think that would be all the information. Yeah. And in terms of sharing on OneNote, that's the only thing I didn't express. I tell you the other thing I forgot to express is if you want, so for example, this pupil, she hasn't done a great job and I want her to do it again. So what I can do is if I go back to my class, if I go back to this and I find the girl, and I can then over on the right hand side here on the 3 dots, I can reset progress and get her to have another go at the activity because she needs to improve it. And that's it. And the only other thing I didn't show you was how I would simply just share the assignment and copy that link and then paste it into OneNote. And then the girls would just click on that OneNote and then click on that link and away they would go. So if I just share a page here, I would just put it in like in that way, Edpuzzle, and then they would come along, click on that, sign in, and there we go. That's it.
Amazing, Jane. Really succinct, superb. So are all your classes classic classes, or are any of them open classes?
They're all classic.
Right.
And then I like building up my, just let me click out of there. You know, I like my grade book. I like to see how they progressed over time. Yeah, I think the grade book is really key for me.
Awesome. Thanks for a great job there, Jane. We're now going to hand over to Celia from Edpuzzle, who's going to give us like the overarching aims of Edpuzzle, as well as if there are any other questions in the chat. I think we've covered them all so far, but that would be lovely if there's anything which hasn't been covered. But over to you now, Celia, and thank you so much for agreeing to come along tonight and give us an overview of Edpuzzle. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Well, I am Celia. I am the School Success Manager at Edpuzzle. And well, thanks for inviting me today. I was a language teacher for a long time, and I love using Edpuzzle to engage with my students. So I hope you are all enjoying today's webinar as I am doing. So, well, as a former teacher, I can say that Edpuzzle had always helped me, not only saving time, but also preparing for the next lesson, as you were saying, with the data analytics. And so it was a great way to know where my students were and what we needed to work on more. Now, as an Edpuzzle team member, I am in charge of schools in the UK and Europe, and Joe has asked me to summarize what is Edpuzzle. So I'll try to give you a brief explanation, despite you already listen a little bit how some tips about the platform. So nowadays, more than 35,000 schools around the world already use Edpuzzle to boost their class using videos. For those of you who don't know Edpuzzle yet, or is the first contact with the platform, Edpuzzle is an amazing tool that helps teachers to create engaging videos, video lessons in minutes in a very secure way. So Edpuzzle is a secure video platform where you can find any video that you like, as you were saying, from YouTube or your favorite channels like National Geographic, Khan Academy, TED Talks, and more. You can also upload your own video or find a video from the millions of videos already created by other teachers in the Edpuzzle resource library. This really helps teachers assigning quality videos that are also curricula aligned. The cool thing is that you can embed notes and questions, open-ended questions, as you were saying, multi-choice questions, audio notes. That's very good, especially for language teachers. You can easily have access to all the students' analytics and mark the videos with no effort, I promise. I think we are promoting active video learning. Also, teachers can assign videos to their class, and this is very easy. Joe and Helen have shown you how to do it, but Edpuzzle can also be integrated with your Google Classroom or your LMS, like Moodle, Canvas, or the one you use. So this way teachers can track a student's progress very, very easily, and the students can access the video through their LMS. Also, when I was a language teacher, I used to worry about whether my students watch a video or not, understood the content or not. And this is what I truly think makes Edpuzzle special, because it gives teachers, we always say, is that gives teachers a kind of superpowers because of those analytics that you were showing earlier. So in short, Edpuzzle is a key video platform that helps teachers with hybrid education, I think, while students learn content at their own pace. Another thing that I think makes us special is our privacy and data protection policies. We grant the students security, as well as comply with GDPR and other international laws like FERPA or COPPA in the US. And Joe, I am finishing now, but I wanted to share that we have also an amazing website with resources for teachers, which is free and helps teachers to get started with Edpuzzle. I am sure later on Joe will share this with you, is edpuzzle.com/resources. So that's it from me. I leave it to you now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Celia, for that lovely overview of Edpuzzle. And we've all been really good, haven't we? We've all kept to time. It's fantastic. So to wrap us up is Daren. Just in the chat as well, we've had a couple of questions. Does it work with Vimeo? Can you clarify, Celia? Does Edpuzzle work with Vimeo in addition to YouTube, etc.?
Yes, it works. The only thing is that it needs to have the correct private setting. So okay. you need to check, but it works with not only YouTube but other channels that you like.
Amazing, thank you. And also we had a comment in the chat about making the text size bigger, which I can remember we had on Twitter recently, and it's changing the settings in Chrome, isn't it? Could you go over that with us now, Celia? Is that okay?
Yes, it's what you just mentioned. So you can set the settings on Chrome, so it will appear bigger. This is the way we are recommending teachers to do that. Anyway, if you have any suggestions, you can always email us, because we always have listened to teachers. And if you have any suggestions, like making the font bigger or anything, you are always welcome to send that to us directly.
Lovely. Okay, so over to you, Daren. Daren's going to talk a little bit about accreditation, as well as I'm sure some more top tips, and then finish off with that amazing promotion again. Over to you, Daren. Thanks again for agreeing to do this.
No problem. Thanks, Joe. And thanks everyone as well. As if by magic, I've just popped into my settings on Chrome and increased the font size there, so they make this a little bit bigger so everybody can see it. Up into the top right-hand corner, click on your settings, come to appearance, and then you've got the option. Mine was on medium, which is the recommended, but you can go large, or you can even go very large, and it just changes immediately. So you can see here, nice and big for everybody to see, if that's the way you want to do it. Okay. I don't want to kind of go over the same things, because the beauty of Edpuzzle is it looks exactly the same, whether you're using Microsoft or whether you're using Google. But a couple of questions popped up in the chat about how you can import classes and things like that. So I thought I'd just show a couple of those things and then share my favorite kind of bits and pieces. So the first thing I would say is up in the top right hand corner here. It's very, very faint, but you've got your own profile section. And you can see if you scroll down here, you've got the option to invite teachers. So if we click on invite teachers, we can invite them by email directly, or we can share on Twitter, or we can share on Facebook, or we can just copy our referral code. And that referral code is going to enable us, if somebody signs up using that referral code, it's going to give us additional storage space. So whereas we've got 20 videos, if I share that with Joe and Joe signs up, I will then have 23 videos available. And if I then share it with somebody else, it will be 26 and so on. So for every referral he creates and verifies, I will receive extra storage space of 3 more videos, which is really useful and great that you can just pop it out on social media, because it's a nice, easy way of increasing the amount of storage space you've got. And I think it's really nice that that's really, really easy to do. Okay. The other thing that I think is massively important, as we've just said, is that how we get our classes in there. So I'm just going to go to my classes. We've got the option here to add classes. So I just click on my classes and I've got here the choice to connect LMS. And all I've got to do is click Google Classroom in my case, because I'm on a G Suite domain, and it will go in and it will look at all of my Google Classrooms on this account. I can either select all of them, or I can just pick 1 or 2 to add. As I do it, I just need to assign a grade level for it, whatever that might be. So I can just choose 6th grade, for example, and you choose a subject, exactly the same as Joe did earlier on. But this time round, we're doing it here as we're importing it. So I'm just going to import this 1, and then I just come down the bottom here and import the class. So that's going to bring across every member of the class. Now, this is a demo class, so there's not many members in there. In fact, there's probably only 2 or 3. So if I look at my grade book now, I've got this demo class. You can see they haven't collected any work. There's nothing showing at the moment. Okay, but it does have everybody in there. And as soon as I set some work, they'll be able to use it. But the other things I really love about using Edpuzzle within the Google environment and within Chrome as well is that there's a really good Google Chrome extension for Edpuzzle, which is fantastic because it enables you to not only just come here, and as Celia mentioned, you've got basically Edpuzzle, YouTube, Khan Academy and everything else, and you can search here. But equally, if you've got the extension, you can just go to any YouTube video and you'll see that it appears in the bottom right-hand corner of the video here, Edit with Edpuzzle, okay? And all I've got to do is click that, and it's going to bring that video in. So it might be a video that I've previously bookmarked or something like that. And it gives me exactly the same options as Joe had earlier. So I can cut that video. I can add a voiceover to it, except with YouTube. You can't at the moment with YouTube. You can add your questions. You can add a voice note to explain what it's all about. And again, you can add your open-ended and your multiple choice questions. The other thing I love about this is it enables you to make sure that the students do watch the video. Because like Celia said, although, and Jane as well, not only do you get the metrics on how much of the video have they watched, you also get metrics on how many times they've viewed different parts of the video. So you can see whether they've watched something more than once. But the other advantage with this is if they try and play the video in the background while they're, I don't know, on something like, you know, World of Warcraft or Call of Duty or anything along those lines, as soon as it's not in the front ground, it stops working. It just stops playing. So they can't just play it in the background and pretend to be working on it. Okay. So it's really great, as Celia said earlier, as a superpower to make sure that students do have to watch it all the way through. You turn off the skipping, so they have to answer all of the questions, and they can't just play it in the background and pretend that, oh yes, look, I've watched the whole thing. Well, you haven't, because you've had it running behind something else. That's not an option, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that's using the Chrome extension, which I'm just going to pop a link to in the chat, because I think it's really useful to have, and one of the best things that Oscar from Edpuzzle introduced me to. So it's really great to be able to do that kind of thing. Okay. The other thing I love is the ability to use this for differentiation. So I'm actually going to size down my font again, just because it's a little bit big for me and it's a bit crazy, quite frankly. So you just go back down to medium size and you can see how quickly it changes. Okay, so it's gone back to medium size. I'm going to add in a question and I'm going to say, right, so what does, because this is a parody on a Latin American soap opera, what does que hora es mean? Okay, and I'm just going to ask that. And then I'm going to give them the multiple choice. What hour is dinner? And what time is it? Okay, and I'm going to mark this one as correct, but you can see just here slightly grayed out, you've got the option for feedback. So what you can do with these is where you've got correct or incorrect answers, just like you can with maybe a Google form or a Microsoft form, you can just go in here and you can type your feedback. So it might be, you know, unlucky, try again, or it might be watch this resource and you can just insert a link. So you could add in a further resource. It might be a video for them to watch. It might be an audio file for them to listen to. It might be a worksheet for them to go through. That can all go in there and they can just click on that when they get their feedback, okay? Or you can add in pictures as well to help them as part of that, which might make things a little bit easier. So you can differentiate and you can scaffold the work by adding in extra clues, support work, or extension work for those people that get it right. So those that have said, what time is it, and have got it right, you might then offer them some extension work with some stretch and challenge by clicking on the feedback and using the link option to send them to another site or another document that you've got, or another video even. And you can do that at any point in the video because it's going to open in another window anyway. Okay, so it's really, really useful to be able to do that. And that way you can really structure your lesson to each individual's understanding, and you can have those misconceptions addressed as they're going through without you having to do anything. And then if they want to, they can go back, they can keep watching that section, and then they can make sure that they've got their answers correct before they submit the whole thing. So that's really good, okay? I would say maximum sort of video length, 6 to 7 minutes is plenty, because by the time they've watched it a few times, and they've watched each section, that's going to eke it out to about 10 minutes, and that's kind of optimum time. But the other thing I really like, and I'm just going to click finish on this one, is you have also got the option to duplicate. So that will make a carbon copy of this video. So if I've decided that this is going to be my video, I've got this one and I maybe have put 10 questions in it, and I might want to share that with my higher attainers. But I can then duplicate this video, which is going to create the second one. If I go back to my content page, we can see we've got now copy of. So I can now go into this one. Okay, I can duplicate it, and I will get a second one as well. There it is, it's down here. And then I can create different questions for the copy of the copy. So I can go into this one, I can start to play it, and I might make the question harder or easier depending on the students I'm sharing it with. So it means I can potentially have the same video, but have 4 different versions, different table groups, different ability groups, different GCSE grade, target groups, however you want to do it, okay? So it's a great way to differentiate. And of course, you can also include things like your voice notes as well to give them scaffolding as we're going through, okay? So it's really, really simple. The back end of it from the Google perspective, exactly the same as you see from the Microsoft side of things. It all looks exactly the same. But to follow up with what Celia mentioned earlier, if you come down again in your profile and you go to certifications, it's going to take you to the teacher or the student certifications. And this is a really nice way to get students involved, because they can follow certifications on all sorts of things like personal finance, health and digital citizenship, and we can find our own PD. Okay, now I think there's 17 badges currently, and there are people out there who've got all 17. I'll put my hands up when I haven't. I've got about 6 or 7 at the moment. There's the obvious ones, Edpuzzle level 1 and Edpuzzle with Google Classroom and Edpuzzle Level 2, but there's also some really good generic themes in there. So there's self-paced classroom, flipped learning, project-based learning, gamification, privacy and security, planning, achieving big goals, 21st century learning, all of these tech integration, all of these modules, it tells you how long they are. And essentially you sign up as a student. So you go in like a student, you complete the videos, you answer the questions. And when you get to the end of each one, it will give you a code like Jane showed at the beginning that will let you sign up for the next part of the course. So it's a really good way. It's almost like a bit of an escape room digital breakout. You can't move on to the next part until you've got the code. So you go through, you answer the questions. When you get the code, you can then move on to the next one. But they're really great little tutorials. And when I say, you know, they're broken up into sort of 5, 6, 7 minute videos that you can work through. You can save your progress so you don't have to do it all in one time. And you can learn an awful lot from them. So not just the Edpuzzle ones themselves, but there's the Edpuzzle coach one, which is really good, just looking at coaching in general. The project-based learning, I think, is fantastic. And if you've got somebody who's new to Google tools, then it's a nice way of onboarding people as well. So lots of different options there, okay? And all completely free.
Amazing. Lots of people are saying, you know, I've never thought of using feedback in the way you've just shown us, Daren. That's really, really brilliant.
Yeah, and if you know, you can couple it up with things like, I mean, I use Mote an awful lot. So you can record a voice message in Mote and you can add that in quite easily to the questions or the multiple choices or the open-ended questions if you want to as well.
Amazing. And Celia put in the chat the edpuzzle.com/resources. Could you maybe just give us a quick look at that page? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Accreditation is part of that. And I think we've got a nice little video as well from another member of the MFL Twitterati, which would be lovely to play as well.
We have indeed. So they just come back off of there. So if we go here, whoop, there we go. Come down to resources. Yep. We've got here getting started. There's the webinars that run very regularly. Presentations, if you're trying to kind of sell it to your district. And then again, a link to those teacher and student certifications. And yet, as you said, we've got a video from Karina, who's put together from her own experience, which I will share with us now.
Amazing. So the lovely Karine Longman from the International School of Monaco shared a lovely video with us around her experience of accreditation, and we're going to have a listen to it now.
Hopefully the sound will come through.
Hello, Joe. Hi, Daren. Hi, Jane. Hi, everybody watching. Thank you for having me talk about the Edpuzzle certifications. So they are very, very well done. There's a lot to choose from, and you can't do them all, I suppose. But I've done only a couple, and then decided to go for the Edpuzzle coach certification, which I found really well organized, very clear. It takes you step by step, you know, with the modules, and you can do as many modules as you want in one go, or do one and stop and come back to it later. It's really good to have, because I can then now pass on what I've learned to my colleagues in a PD session, which I'm sure they'll all enjoy very much. I really enjoyed especially having the ability to include my voice at the beginning or at the end of a video, whether I've made the video or it's a video that's already there in the content of Edpuzzle, because it really makes it more personal and it's a nice touch, and students really enjoy hearing their teacher's voice usually. So I would say go for it. It's really good to do, and very interesting because you learn a lot. Thank you very much, and enjoy. Bye.
That's lovely. Daren, in the chat, someone was asking about the using Mote. You mentioned how you would use that in conjunction with Edpuzzle. Could you clarify if that's okay?
Yeah, so for example, if I was just editing this particular video here, and I wanted to add a question in there, I'd play. So I'd stop it there. I'd say, right, I'm going to add a question. If you add a note, you can see you've got the option here to add a voice note in anyway. which is not a problem at all. But if you want to add a question, particularly if you wanted to make it a listening activity as well, you could add an open-ended question or a multiple choice question by using the Mote pad. So I might just say, click here, I'll click on the M button here. ¿Qué quiere decir qué hora es? And I just click that, copy it, and I can take it in here and add it in as a link. And then I can display the text. Just listen, for example, and okay, add it in there and save it. Okay, and the students see that. They will click on that. No.
So we've just had the question in the chat, is Motor Chrome extension? Yes, it is.
Yes.
And it's really awesome for audio feedback and the way that Daren has just described. Absolutely.
Yeah. For some reason, I know I'm having some trouble with my Wi-Fi as well at home, so it might be related to that. It's the joys of all this bad weather and living in a village, unfortunately. But you can do it that way, obviously. And there's other voice recorders you can use as well. So you could use, talk and comment, or you can use just an online video voice recorder, which I know you use quite a lot, Joe. So
yeah,
you can just drop it in there to be listened to as well, and make it a listening question as well as a reading or a writing. Okay. Awesome.
All done, Daren?
Yep.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Wow, this has been amazing. So I think we've had like the introduction, the basics, and then we've done a bit of a deep dive into lots of other ideas, and even people in the audience who are really into their ed tech have been learning new stuff, which is what it's all about, really. It's something for everybody, which is absolutely perfect. So officially, I'd love to thank Jane Basnett, Daren White, and Celia Albarez for taking part in today's webinar. I think it's been awesome, really, really awesome. I think I'm right in saying that we've answered all the questions. We had a question about, does Edpuzzle read back the questions to you? I think the only way of doing that was you'd have to use some sort of Chrome extension, like the read and write Chrome extension is one that will allow you to do that. Or I think there's one called read aloud, if I remember correctly, or if you're on, say, an iPad, then you could use the speak selection option, but I don't think that's built within Edpuzzle. But I think we've done a great job in answering everyone's questions, and thank you ever so much for TH, I presume read and write would work with it. You'd have to try it out. I'm not actually sure, but certainly read and write is a Chrome extension which allows you to read back text, so I would try it out. So I think we've answered all the questions. It's been awesome. So thank you everybody for coming along tonight, and thank you again to the fantastic presenters. It's been great. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to press stop recording right now.